All right, Kristen, let's check out one of your study slalom runs over at the Hermitage. I thought maybe this time it would be more helpful than for me just to, talk about and describe some things that you should be, trying to do differently that we'd maybe give you a demonstration. Zach over here does a couple things that would be helpful to watch. So let's check you guys both out. All right. Both making a good, nice turn there. Bringing shape back to the pole. One thing you're going to see here is that you really gave this gate, really too much respect, bringing too high of a line and kind of high and round. And I know it's hard. I mean, can we have the perfect line on every gate? Probably not. And it's one of these Goldilocks things. Is it too high, too low, just right? It's hard to figure out. But you can see here that if I get you the same size, you've got much more, space above in the rise line. So when you bring this turn back, shape back, your turn's done, whoops, kind of way ahead of it, way above it. So now you have to go kind of straight, 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 straight. You're not turning because you were just so far above it. To see Zach in here, just bring shape back and really finish the turn on the pole that we want. You finish your turn way above. So just more distance travel. So it's a tough one because we talk about taking the high line and etc. But obviously there you were too high. Better looking turn there. There you finished your turn on the pole. One thing that you want to try to work on, particularly in slalom, is you stand up too high in the transitions. You perform some what we call up unweighting. You rise up really high to get the skis light to get from one side of you to another. And in slalom, we really don't have the time for that. We use more of a retraction move, meaning we suck the skis up underneath us with absorbing with the legs. In other words, Zach had to get the skis from one side of him to another, and he has a little bit of up and down motion, but really you'll see it more down at the bottom of the hill. But you kind of bring them underneath you with the bent knees there, and get them to the other side. Now, we don't have time for all that. We'll see it more down below. Number two, I'd like to see you have a much quicker pole plant. There's Zach's pole plant right there. He came through, hit the gate, pole plant there. Your pole plant is going to be much later. You come through, hit, and you're pole planting there. So just the space you could see from the stubby is more. You pole planted later. What does that mean? Well, pole plant really helps you, get off the ski, get rebalanced, recentered, and move to the new ski. And because of a late pole plant, sometimes hard to get the transition going. So we want a little bit earlier pole plant. Nice turn there. Shape back. Right on the pole. That's a good one. Combinations, we're going to need to learn how to straighten them out a bit in here. You came in and gave an awful lot of shape back into the top pole, so therefore that sent you on a wide line on the middle two of this hairpin. You can see Zach coming in, running the top a lot straighter, and then he tries to give his feet some room and arc out with direction. He was a little low too, so his wasn't perfect, but you were just way wide on these because you brought in too much shape into the hairpin. And here's an example of what we're kind of talking about, the combination of a late pole plant and rising up too much in the transition. And because of that combination, you're not even ready for this gate. You know, you're light at the top. You want to be getting pressure from rise line through fall line. So you're light up in here and had no choice but just to kind of skid around and wide, late, and low. Decent turn. One thing, you got the hips kind of back. I mean, we're getting nitpicky here, but let's make sure we're always pulling the inside foot back. Like we just talked about the hairpin, we're going to need to straighten these out a little bit. We do want to have, you know, obviously direction coming out, but you can see Zach come in, running a little straighter line throughout, and then we'll swing out here to give shape out. And you were kind of round throughout. So again, we're talking about pole plant and up and down motion. That's our main focus here. Zach's a little late with a pole plant too, but you didn't even have one. And you rose up so much, obviously you can see you're off the ground. So it made it kind of tricky. So you're kind of, you know, late and low. You want to be on that pole like Zach was. Again, he came through here and didn't really rise up dramatically, right? He had to get the skis from this side of him to the other side, you know, from his right side, you know, to his left side here. And without really standing up, he actually absorbed them. He brought his knees up a little bit and left the skis. So what he did was he allowed the skis to cross under him as he crossed over them with upper body going down the hill. All right, so think about that. Letting the skis cross under you as you cross over them moving down the hill. And because you had this big up and down motion here, there's no time for it. And we're light at the top of the turn. We want pressure now. So we just sort of skidded down around the gate low. All right, so think about a couple of things. Make sure that we are pole planting every time and early as possible. In regular slalom with tall poles, we're going to clear and block, and here we're going to shin and plant. And then secondly, we're going to try to change a little bit the way we get the skis from one side of us to another, not having the big up and down motion, but use the retraction and think about letting the skis cross under you as you cross over them, really pulling the knees up so we're not as tall. We do want to be fairly extended at the top of the turn and not tall, but if we come through at a low profile, it's hard to see with Zach here, but you know, at the top of the turn, we do want to be fairly extended with bringing our hips up forward over the boots. But we just don't want to do that in the middle of the transition. So hope this helps, and we'll be working on it soon.